we need community. This is it shows us once again our need for the body of Christ, our need for relationship. We were made this way. Hey everybody, it's Pat and Rhonda. We're back with another Kirkmont Women's Ministry video, and we are doing our year-end wrap-up. I think, although it might not be published until after the first of the year, but anyway, best of 2020. That's what we're doing today. Because, what a year, right? And you might be going, best of 2020? Let's go worst of 2020. But no, we're not doing that kind of a list. We're going to hit some of the highlights and talk about what did we learn? What did God show us this year? Because, you can't let the best of 2020 be your memory of the first time you found toilet paper on the shelf in the grocery store in April, because, that was like an anomaly, right? So what do you want to go first? What did God teach you, or you want me to throw mine out there?
You go ahead and throw yours out there first.
So I think chronologically. So I did mine chronologically. So I went back to March, April, kind of what I call the lockdown wildflower phase, right? So, because I think God gave me the gift of time in that period. Mm-hmm. Middle of March, everything shut down, right? And some of you may know we have a little a cabin in Hocking Hills, and they shut it down. You can't rent the cabin. People can't come visit. We gotta decontaminate every surface, kind of thing. So all of a sudden, we have every weekend open, nowhere to go, nothing to do. The kids aren't even in school at this point, and so we went to the cabin because we have 20 acres. We can social distance all day long out there. So we went over there every weekend, and we went through this, got into a rhythm, I guess, of going for a walk. Every Saturday morning, Vivian and I would go on this walk, and we found a woodpecker nest. And we would literally, I would have to hold my phone up, stand on my tiptoes, hold my phone up, and shine the camera in there to see if the woodpeckers had hatched yet. Right? That was one of our little places that we visited, and we had wildflowers that I've never seen before. Yellow lady slipper orchids Derek found in just the middle of the woods, kind of thing, where we didn't know that any of this stuff existed. And I loved it because we had to slow down. Our endless buffet of activity choices was kind of abruptly clamped down, but I loved it because I didn't feel guilty about the choices I was making. I mean, hello, motherhood. Do you pretty much feel guilty about every choice you make for your entire time as a mom? I wasn't pulled in a million different directions. I had time with my kids, time with my husband. We made pancakes. We roasted s'mores and hot dogs by the fire, kind of thing, and played games and stuff. It was pretty much like a vacation. And I realized that wasn't the case for everybody, but that was certainly my big moment. I was like, this is great. I like this. I can get rid of that hustle and bustle and that schedule, and I can just have time to focus on these people. Vivian is a junior in high school. She's in the back half of her junior year now. We don't have that much more time with her at home. And I thought, wow, what a gift. It was probably a little boring for her. There were some eye rolls occasionally that we were going again to the cabin. And I'm like, what else are you going to do? Right? So that was my first best of moment.
This makes me think of one of my best ofs, and that's the amount of creativity this year. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I got to do things that usually I don't make time for. Okay. So I got a Cricut machine last year, and I couldn't
bust it out and read the directions. Did you?
I tried. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos because everybody said watch YouTube and it'll be fine. And it's like I can't figure this out. I finally have it figured out because I had the time to just take the time to do it. I made masks.
I made a few masks. Yeah.
I made some little dresses for Africa. I crocheted a baby Afghan. I did a lot of that kind of stuff.
It wouldn't happen.
No, because I'd be rushing on to the next event, the next appointment, the next scheduled thing, and I didn't have to do that. Yeah. One of the things that I have to apologize to you. Oh. Early on, you talked about dusting your baseboards. Oh, yeah. I was laughing at you about that. Charlie and I are
Did
doing
you do it?
that.
Yes!
We're doing that right now. He called it, let's do a deep cleaning of the house. Oh my gosh, what are we thinking?
I would rather talk about a budget with my husband, which is he's bringing up now too.
So
We got to get out of this lockdown. You don't have to do baseboards. I don't have to do budget.
yeah, really. But it's interesting. First of all, the stuff we're coming across.
Yeah.
It's like I spent the last 2 days cleaning the cabinet I call my china cabinet.
What you're actually finding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who knew that you had a crystal spoon rest? Where did it come from?
What is it? BJ, can you put a picture up of a spoon? I don't know what a crystal spoon rest is.
I didn't know either. I said to Charlie, what is this thing? So, yeah, there are different ways.
The gift of time.
The different ways to be creative and to appreciate creativity.
Mm-hmm.
I've read more this last year than I have for a long time.
And you read a lot.
And I read a lot,
with,
but this has been a year of, now my problem is my to be read stack is now, like ceiling high. Yesterday I decided, I want to read Spurgeon this year, so I've ordered Spurgeon.
You ordered more? No.
I did. So we'll see. But yeah, that to me has been a real gift this year, is a gift to take the time and to enjoy things. Charlie and I have started playing dominoes after dinner, and
Love it.
it's just fun. Sometimes I'm cranky because I lose so often, but it's dominoes.
It's dominoes, right? Big scale, big picture. Yeah. Okay. So when we scooch forward in my timeline a little bit, we go to June and July, which I call parties and people, because this was the gift of fellowship, and it kind of reminds us, I think, of our need for community. Because by June, June, July, it's like summer, and we're like, oh, we've been locked up for how long now? Which we can all laugh about now that it's January 31st. But remember when people would turn down your party invitation? Like, I sent out a random text on a Tuesday afternoon and said, bring your lawn chair tomorrow, and I had to kick people off my lawn at 11:30 at night. Okay, because we needed that. We had some ladies events they weren't slapdash. I don't do slapdash, but they were thrown together with perhaps a little less preparation time than normally would have occurred, because I was like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just put the date on the calendar and let's just do it. And people came. The response was huge. We need community. This is it shows us once again our need for the body of Christ, our need for relationship. We were made this way. And so for a lot of people, we were able to get together. We were able to be outdoors. We were able to, see each other and be ever so thankful for that time together. Now, we talked about this yesterday. Not everybody was in a position to even do that.
Yeah.
So,
but it still reminded me
the need,
how important it is to be connected to people.
Yeah.
And I'm ever so thankful that we aren't doing this, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't have had Zoom. We wouldn't have had FaceTime. There are so many things we wouldn't have had to be able to connect. And though I can't say I'm a huge fan of Zoom, I am so thankful. It's better than nothing. Yeah. And so I'm in 2 small groups where both small groups are meeting on Zoom. It's clunky. It's not, it's not as much fun as being together in person.
Yeah.
It's awkward. So I'm really, really thankful for that. And it's, the few times I've gotten to see like our Wednesday night small group, there are a couple of things we did where we went to everybody's house to either pick something up or drop something off. And seeing people in person for real for the first time, it was like
so much more. You're not ducking away from on the next aisle in Kroger going, oh, I don't have time to talk to so-and-so. I mean, you're like so excited to see people.
Yeah.
It kind of should be that way.
Yeah.
It kind of should be that way, but we had let busyness creep in at the expense of relationship, I think. So I loved this. And we were talking about this yesterday too. People say, we're all in this together, or we're all in the same boat. Okay. But I heard somebody take a slight variation to that and say, no, we're all in the same storm. but we have different boats, because some people are in a dinghy that's half full of water and a hole in the bottom, and they lost the oar 3 months ago. Okay. Some people have not, their circumstances are different, and they have not been able to respond the way somebody has, who maybe, could just switch their job to remote and enjoys hanging out at home with their family or whatever. We all have different boats. So my plug would be, use your boat, and look around and see who needs a little help with their boat, right? So,
and that goes back to creativity.
Yeah.
How do we be creative about how we connect with one another? If it's Zoom, we've talked about this before,
Yeah.
Pick up the phone and see how people are doing. Send them a note, send them a text.
Yeah.
Do something so that you're connecting with those folks and not just, we talk about being isolated. Yeah, we're isolated, but we can still make connections with one another, and we need to do that.
Yeah. And, there's a time where we like to get together and lament, I suppose, with one another, but don't let every interaction, okay? You're grateful for these interactions. You need these interactions. So don't turn everyone into a gripe session or some kind of comparison scale of like, well, woe is me. Well, I'm woer. Okay. Don't be making it like, oh, I wish it was different. Oh, it shouldn't be like this. Oh, the good old day. Nonsense. Okay. We don't need that. It's the end of December, and we started this in March, and we don't know really where the end is. Do you think God might have something else for you to do during this time besides gripe about the way things used to be? I do. I think that's not what he's focused on. So, yeah.
No, I'm sure it's not what he's focused on.
Use your boat. Don't gripe about everything, and take care of other people where you can. Yeah. So we're going to fast forward a little bit now, because my next aha came Christmas Eve. We came to the candlelight service here, and we sang "Oh Holy Night." How many times have we sung "Oh Holy Night"? A lot. Okay. I even remember the story of the carol, because there's a nice story really of how it was written and how it came about. The unlikelihood of really an atheist writing the lyrics and a Jewish guy writing the music, and anyway, there's a good story behind it. But I'm going to read you the lines. I'm not going to sing them. I'm going to try not to get sing-songy as I read them. You know how hard it is to read lyrics, right? So we sing, "Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn." This stopped me in my tracks, smeared my mascara, had to break out the tissues kind of thing, because my soul felt its worth. Guys, we're on the other side of the new and glorious morn, okay? Mm-hmm. The gift of our identity as a child of God, right? We have been chosen by him. We've been redeemed by him. We're confident that he will complete the good work he has begun in us, right? I probably should have written down where that was. Philippians? Does that sound right? I think it's Philippians.
Mm-hmm. Philippians 1:6.
We're on the other side in terms of eternity, right? Like, he's there. He's chosen us. The work is done. It's complete. Let your soul rest in that. Mm-hmm. All this other stuff that we're panicked and frenzied and worried about, on the grand scheme, nothing. Won't even remember that you couldn't find toilet paper for 6 weeks in 2020. We're not going to sit around in heaven and tell that story. It's not what we're going to be focused on.
No.
So that one was a big one for me.
I like that a lot. That's that kind of goes along with my third one, which is celebration.
Yeah.
Celebrating this year has been unusual, to say the least. A lot of celebrations just didn't happen.
Yeah.
I had 2 nieces who got married this year. One of them had 12 people, I think, at her ceremony. The plan for both brides is this coming year, 2021,
the big party.
We're going to have the big party for them. So it's been a weird year to try and celebrate.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we don't try.
No.
It doesn't mean we
No.
don't make the effort to celebrate, to call people and say, bring your lawn chairs and come on over
Yeah.
and we'll
Yeah.
sit around and talk outside.
Yeah.
The thing, Charlie and I have done this for several years now. For Advent, we do a Jesse tree, which is a way of marking the days before Christmas. And we've been using Ann Voskamp's Unwrapping the Greatest Gift. It is beautifully illustrated. I'd highly recommend it for families because the text that she has written is wonderful. The illustrations are gorgeous. But I had the same reaction. There'd be times where I would be reading the day's reading, because I always do the reading in our family, and I would start crying, and I would be like, why am I crying over this book that children would love? And it would strike me afresh what it was we were celebrating.
Because the Spirit is touching you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not a mess if you shed a tear, people. Let me say that again. It doesn't mean you're falling apart.
Yeah.
It means that you're probably closer to, God in that moment. He has touched your spirit so strongly that you can't help but be overwhelmed, right?
Yeah. You suddenly, the realization of what it is you're celebrating suddenly comes over you, and it's like, the emotion just is there. You're right. It's okay. We get embarrassed by tears. Oh,
Whatever.
heck with it.
Whatever. I don't care anymore. I mean, think about that line, the thrill of hope, a weary world rejoices. We are a weary world right now. But the thrill of hope, I mean, think of 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy, he's given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus from the dead, into an inheritance of Jesus Christ, or into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. This inheritance is kept in heaven for you, who through faith are shielded by God's power until the coming of the salvation that is ready to be revealed in the last time. Stick with me, verse 6. In all this you greatly rejoice, though now, for a little while, you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials. Do you think he doesn't know where we are? Do you think he doesn't know what we need to hear on Christmas Eve that our soul doesn't need to feel its worth? I mean, this little gimmick we got here with the best of 2020, it's meant to encourage you, okay? It's not meant to shame you or get you into some weird comparison trap of, I didn't think of anything good. This isn't about guilt. This isn't about condemnation, okay? If you're not at a place of contentment with what God is doing in your life right now, then ask him for it. Pray. I guarantee you he'll answer that prayer, right? And pray, for your own change, for him to change you. I mean, you might want to get over praying for other people or circumstances to change or so-and-so, and if only, not that kind of prayer.
Yeah.
Lord, change my heart. Give me a desire for you, right? That's what this is meant to do, right? We really should be able to say, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice in it. I'm not saying every time, all the time, Pollyanna, you're never going to feel bad. But day in, day out, are we grateful that we have been chosen by God, that this is the life he has given us, and that we have glory with him forever. This is light and momentary affliction, right? So look back over your year. See if you can find, even if, your first memory might be finding paper towels for the first time or Clorox wipes. I still haven't found Clorox wipes, I don't think, in a store. Maybe I don't look for them anymore. I just assume they're gone. But yeah, look back at your year, or certainly the back half of your year here, and see if you can find your best of 2020. Because who knows what 2021 has. But I'm here. I'm along for the ride. What else you got to do, right? Yeah. Come on over. So yeah, we look forward to a new series starting next week. Do you remember the book? You told me last night and I forgot.
In His Image.
Yes, there we go. In His Image.
By Jen Wilkin.
So you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we'll see you next time.